Hello, everyone. I welcome all of you to our forum on human trafficking today. My name is Kalai. I'm a program officer for Global Shepherds in Malaysia. Global Shepherds is a non-governmental organization which focuses on women and children, those who are trafficked, forced into migration, refugees, asylum seekers who have experienced gender-based violence. We have shelters, outreach programs that include case management, counseling, awareness raising, and other forms of intervention. That's enough about us. Let's get into our session today. Before that, I request all of you to put your questions, comments as we go in the Zoom chat, and also for those who are watching us on YouTube, to please use YouTube comment section to write your questions. So our topic now, online sexual exploitation of children, or OSEC. What is it? In short, it means children are being sexually abused online for profit. It is a new form of child trafficking. OSEC most commonly includes sexual abuse, sexual grooming of children, coercing children into performing sexual acts, consuming child sexual abuse material, and live streaming. All you need is a camera, sound system, an internet connection, and a child. Children are used by the traffickers to create sexual exploitation material to meet the online demand of child sex offenders, whether on live video, social media, or messaging platforms. And as technology advances and the internet connectivity is enhanced, new forms of this crime emerge. In this forum today, we will see from the perspective of three countries, the Philippines, Nepal, and Malaysia. And in our final segments, we would like to hear your thoughts and opinions on the issue. So we'd like you to stay until the end of the session to fill up a short questionnaire. Without further delay, we shall cross over to the Philippines. The Philippine Internet Crimes Against Children Center, as well as other anti-human trafficking agencies, have reported more than 50% increase in suspicious transaction reports relating to OSEC 2020 compared to 2019. Social services organization St. Mary Euphrasia Integrated Development Foundation, Inc., are actively trying to combat OSEC in Philippines, initiating rescue and intervention efforts, as well as raising awareness. So we hand you over now to the team in Philippines to tell us more. Over to you, Ciara.
Hello. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening to everyone who is with us today. I am Shara. I am the Advocacy Officer of St. Mary Euphrasia Integrated Development Foundation. And we would like to share with you the realities, the experiences we have in dealing with OSEC here in the Philippines. As Kalai mentioned, the Philippines is one of the, if not the biggest hub of online sexual exploitation materials in the world. We have been dealing with OSEC for a couple of years now, and it is to us it is very important to share our experiences, to share our stories. So without further ado, I would like to thank you very much. So before I start the videos, I would like to inform everyone that if you have any questions about the information, about the videos that you will be seeing from the Philippines this afternoon, you may type them at the chat box, or you can also use the QR codes placed on the videos so that we can also respond to you if you have specific queries. So here is the first video.
Online sexual exploitation of children, or OSEC, involves the production of sexually explicit material such as chatting and visual depictions, including photos, videos, or live streaming of the sexual abuse of a minor. for a perpetrator overseas in exchange for payment. The sexual exploitation of children is a global issue with an ever-increasing scope due to the rise in technology and internet connectivity around the world. Under Philippine law, OSEC falls within the broad category of human trafficking crimes. In the Philippines, OSEC appears to be a family-based crime. Facilitators are usually family members such as parents, uncles, and aunts, or from close circles such as godparents and neighbors. The crime is usually done in their homes, which is considered as a safe place. Furthermore, many children experience OSEC victimization alongside other family members. Victims comprise mostly of siblings or other familiar relationships, such as cousins. Over the years, women have been on the receiving end of various forms of abuse. However, because of OSEC, a new dynamic of abuse is emerging. Based on some reported cases, women are alleged or have been convicted perpetrators of this crime. Rescued children usually ask why they need to be separated from their mothers and siblings, not knowing that their mother is in jail on charges for the abuse or exploitation she did to them. Poverty is the enduring reason why some people engage in OSEC-related activities, mainly to sustain their family's needs. Other reasons include financing vices such as drugs, alcohol, or gambling. Some victims have been reported to have experienced maltreatment, neglect, sexual abuse, or exploitation prior to engaging in OSEC. Other factors that may contribute to the spread of OSEC are incomplete families and broken family values. On a wider scale, the lack of awareness among families and communities that OSEC is a crime may also be attributed why perpetrators and facilitators go into OSEC. The Religious of the Good Shepherd, or RGS, strives to support women and girls who have survived all forms of gender-based violence, including trafficking in persons. Recently, it has embarked on a new journey, this time with children who have been rescued from OSEC. In 2018, RGS opened its assessment center for OSEC survivors in partnership with various non-government and faith-based organizations. RGS Philippines follows the 4Ps framework: protection, prevention, prosecution, and partnership. RGS employs the caring, healing, teaching, intervention model. This is a holistic approach in providing services to the children, especially keeping their best interest in heart. RGS responds to the children's immediate needs, such as their biopsychosocial, spiritual needs. The assessment center serves as a safe space where they feel protected, understood, and loved. In the long term, program participants receive psychosocial interventions as well as awareness-raising sessions on their rights to lessen the risk of re-victimization, which falls under prevention. To combat OSEC, partnership with various government units, non-government, and faith-based organizations and professionals is essential, especially in raising awareness among various sectors, as well as prosecuting the perpetrators. As an assessment center, the best options for reintegration of the program participants are evaluated. Reintegration with non-offending family members is considered as the best option for the children. As the Philippine Family Code states, the family is the foundation of the nation. It is considered as the primary system where the child is rooted and is significant to their growth. This is supported by the move of the Philippines Department of Social Welfare and Development to the institutionalized vulnerable children. Other options which replicate a family setup are kinship care, where they are reintegrated into the families of non-offending relatives, and licensed foster families, which can provide a family environment for the child. Referral to a long-term care facility is considered as the last option. In 1989, the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child was adopted. It recognizes that all children have unique rights and needs and ensures that they grow in the spirit of peace, dignity, tolerance, freedom, equality, and solidarity. Article 34 states that children must be protected from all forms of exploitation. Following this was the adoption of the Palermo Protocol in the UN General Assembly in year 2000. This protocol is for the prevention and suppression of trafficking in persons, especially women and children. Reflecting these international conventions, the Philippines has 3 existing laws that serve as major legal anchors for cases concerning OSEC. Republic Act 7610, or the Special Protection of Children Against Abuse, Exploitation, and Discrimination Act. Republic Act 9208, or the Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act. And Republic Act 9775, the Anti-Child Pornography Act. OSEC is an emerging concern for all families and communities because of the many misconceptions surrounding it, as well as the hidden nature of this crime.
Hello. All right. Thank you for watching the first video. So the first video establishes the context of OSEC in the Philippines, how it is affecting families, how it is affecting communities, and how Good Shepherd Philippines is helping heal these families and communities through its intervention model. So now that we have seen the context of OSEC in the Philippines, now we can go and really see and hear about the stories of the carers and of course of the children, and how it has affected their lives. So this next video will talk about the stories from the field, if you might say. So as the previous video mentioned, RGS works with various non-government organizations and government units. So these stories come from these experiences, not just the Good Shepherds. So here's the second video. Sorry.
Jesus said in the Gospel of St. Matthew, chapter 19, verse 14, "Let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them from coming to me, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to them." It broke my heart as I heard the cry of the little child, "Mama, Mama, Mama," upon realizing that he is no longer within the comfort of his own home. He was in a new place, hearing unfamiliar voices and seeing unknown people in a strange big building. I wonder what happened inside the mind of this child, what emotions were evoked in him, especially when the days and months passed when his mama or papa did not come to visit him in this strange place. When the children are new in our shelter, it is very challenging to put them to sleep because they cry in bed while looking for their mothers. And so again I would hear, Mama, 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 in between the sobbing. Once a child made his longing more revealing when he said in his childish diction, Sister, I cannot sleep alone. With tears also in my eyes, hugging the child and being by his side until he fell asleep was the only response I could spontaneously give. How can I ever tell him that his mama was in jail because of the crime she committed and that this was the reason why he has to be in this situation now? Can a child of 2 or 3 years comprehend this kind of situation? What I only know is that children this young age need the tender loving care of their own mothers. Our foundress Saint Mary Euphrasia said, the Good Shepherd does not want even one of God's children to be lost in the chaos of the times. The discovery and the experience of being with these children brought us to situations we ourselves were not prepared to face. Online sexual exploitation of children, or OSEC, is very new to us. At first, we really felt that we were not trained enough, that we lacked skills, professional experience, and of course, we were afraid that we would not be able to provide the necessary interventions. But the news about this issue was escalating. So we remembered again the words of Mother Foundress. I have no great talents. I only loved, and I love with all the strength of my heart. Despite the uncertainties, we decided to embrace this new demand in mission. It is love and loving from the heart that we can surpass all the limitations and fears that we had at the beginning of this new mission. And so when the child cries, Mama, 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 all we have to do is to give that authentic love. Love which is flowing from the compassion which Jesus, the Good Shepherd himself alone, can give.
Okay, that was the second video. Uh, the second video really talked about how, as the technically the one of the first responders to these children's needs, how that they when they come to us, how they are, what they feel, they're so that's when the journey with these children begins. So we get to know them, we get to see their personalities, uh, and that's the magnitude of this problem. We always see OSEC from the news. We always see OSEC in terms of the reports, the statistics. We always see OSEC as a huge problem that we really need to battle as a whole community. It is. It is a really important. It is really important to see how big the problem is. It is really important to see the statistics. It is really important to see the studies on how OSEC is spreading across the globe. But for us, as we journey with these children, we always remember that behind all these numbers, behind all these reports, behind all the news articles, is a child. And that story is the most important story among all the stories that we have. So for the third video, we would like to share the story of the child.
Dear Mama, Kumusta po kayo? I hope you're okay. Do you remember the time when our family went to the park? There were so many trees and flowers. We stayed there and played on the grass. We didn't have much baon, but we had so much fun that day. Do you remember when we would play and sing and dance at home? I remember my sister and I played with the new toys you gave us. There was also this one time when we went to the market and went to the remittance center to get the money that you said was from our hard work. Then we ate at our favorite fast food chain. I miss you, Mama. I miss all the fun we had. But Mama, there were times when it wasn't fun. Sometimes it was hard, even painful. But I couldn't say no, even if I wanted to. I remember the day when we were separated. You were taken away. My sister and I were taken away. There were so many people. It was so noisy. I just wanted to run to you, but they said, "We're now at the center, and I know you're in jail, Mama. But I'm worried about you. Have you eaten? We eat well here at the center. Do you sleep well, Mama? I miss your hugs when we sleep." I go to school here. They teach us to read and talk about our rights as children. We have a very nice teacher. I promise to become a teacher, like I have always dreamed of. There are other children here. They're my new classmates and playmates. We plant vegetables and we eat them for lunch and dinner. We're happy. But I would be happier with you and Papa and my sister. We would be complete. I miss you, Mama. I love you. And I forgive you.
Okay. Um, so before we proceed to any questions that you may have, I would like to share the journey that we had in creating this video. It was a very emotional. It was a very emotional video, although it's purely fictional. It's based on the many stories that we've heard from all the children. But it seems there is one thing in common among all these different stories of family and of pain. The one thing in common is the fact that there is still love. There is still love between the child and the parent, despite the circumstances that happen to them. There is still love because most parents were really pushed into desperation. That's why they went into OSEC. So before I end this sharing, I would just like to remind everybody that there is always a child behind every story that we hear about OSEC, there's always one family that has been broken by this crime. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sierra. Thank you very much. Thank you for showing us the realities of OSAC situation in Philippines. It was truly eye-opening. Now we will spend some time for question and answers. So please put your comments or questions in Zoom chat and also YouTube comment section. Victoria, Sister Victoria? You raised your hand just now. Do you want to ask a question or something? Even if you want to share any comments, feel free to do so. Yes, Sister Victoria.
Yeah, it was interesting, and it is a awareness for me to join in this and interesting. So it's the first time I was participating. It was very nice. You all are doing very well.
Anyone else? Any other comments, questions?
Kalai, maybe
Yes.
while they are, there is a question from the chat box. Maybe we can
Okay.
go that.
Yeah, so I will read out. Please tell us more on how the community participation in awareness raising and prevention of OSAC in the Philippines. Is that?
Thank you very much for that question. Actually, I was just about to share something similar to this. So we mentioned in the video that we are always partnering with other non-government organizations, with government units, and with other faith-based organizations who have the same mission as the Good Shepherd. So it is very important to raise awareness, not just at the level of civil society organizations. It's crucial. Yes, it is crucial to network with these organizations because as we band together, we will reach more people. So as we have observed, OSEC seems to be a very organized crime. Really don't know how fast it is spreading, how it has come to spread in such a quick pace. It is spreading like wildfire here in the Philippines, especially in one urban poor area. So to be able to combat OSEC, it is essential for us to work together, because to battle an enemy that is organized, we have to be organized as well. We have to keep on speaking with other organizations and stakeholders to be able to approach this problem in a unified way. So that involves participation in the community. So that's where community-based awareness programs, psychoeducation programs come into play. It is important to reach more communities. It is important to reach more families because there is really a low awareness that online sexual exploitation of children is a crime, because there is a misconception that if there is no touching, if there is no sexual contact with a child, that it is not abuse, but it is abuse on so many levels. So it is important to educate more people. It is important to educate more community leaders of what is happening in our communities and families. It is a hidden crime. We really don't know if OSEC is happening at our next door neighbor's house. That's how OSEC is really infiltrating our families. But if more people is educated on OSEC, if we just share what OSEC is, how it affects children and families, just one by one, we can stop this wildfire with the education and with sharing our knowledge to others. So yes, it is very important. So, and it is important to just partner with more and more people, because we cannot just take in children in our residences. Yes, it is important because of course one person is more value than the world. We have to help them heal. We have to help them recover. But residences can only take so much. Residences can only take this many children. So we have to put a stop to this crime even before it begins. So we have to focus on prevention. We have to focus on awareness raising in the smallest unit of our society, which is the family. So that is my response to the question.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, so let's move on. But if you have questions or any comments, please put it in the chat box or YouTube comment section. So next, we will move on to Good Shepherd International Foundation in Nepal. As part of their anti-human trafficking work, GSIF Nepal strive to protect the children and young women through education for life and personal development. So today they will share with us about the human trafficking situation in their country, and they will also share about the intervention undertaken by them to address it. Over to you, Nepal.
And to unmute.
Antonia? Okay.
So once again, good afternoon and namaste from Nepal. I am Sister Antonia, belong to Central East India, Nepal province, and I will be sharing about human trafficking context in Nepal, mainly focusing on the thematic areas and the present scenario, as well as who are the risk group who are under high risk of human trafficking and sexual exploitation, and increase of vulnerability during COVID-19 pandemic, and what are our intervention logic and what are our response, how we are responding to this to address this issue. And I also have with me a co-presenter. His name is Pradeep Tiwari. He will be sharing about the challenges and way forward, and also about our good practices. And we do have videos of our youth who are empowered, and also the stakeholders who are speaking about what type of law we need to have in Nepal. So these are the agenda for our sharing. Okay, now once again I welcome you all. So far we were in Philippines. Now please travel to Nepal. The thematic areas of work are anti-human trafficking. These are the three components: internal human trafficking, adult entertainment sector, cross-border trafficking, protection of sexually abused and exploited children, young people, and those are at risk. So now we shall get to know more about the protection of children those are sexually exploited. We have a shelter homes, a child protection home. Now we shall view a video.
You see them flourishing, you can say. Women and children from human trafficking, and also we give awareness sessions in the communities so that we could prevent trafficking. Child labor is so much in Nepal. They are deprived of their childhood, and sometimes also they are being abused verbally, physically, and sometimes they are also sexually abused. Just to narrate a story, this child was about 8 and 9-year old girl. Mother was a single mother, took her to a hotel. She just left the child and she disappeared. And the girl had to work washing dishes, work cleaning the thing, helping in the cooking. And slowly she was taken into rooms, and one fine day the child couldn't bear. She just ran away from the hotel owner. We helped this child to be mainstream, and she's now reintegrated with her grandparents, and she's also continuing their education. It is very painful to hear such situations, but when they come here, they are being taken care of. You see them growing, blooming. Need to reach out to the interior villages. There are no public transport and it's all rough roads. We used to walk whole day rescuing children or visiting their families for integration of children. When they go out from here, they are capable women who can face the society, get integrated with the society, at the same time have their own dignity. You see them flourishing, you can say.
Women and children from human trafficking, and also we give
Okay, so more or less you have got to know about the children flourishing, their empowerment in a child protection home. Now we will get to know the present scenario in Nepal. TIP report 2019 by NHRC suggested that 35,000 people in Nepal are trafficked and 1.5 million are vulnerable to trafficking. Nepal is in Tier 2 as per the TIP report 2020 by US Department of State. This signifies the significant efforts from the side of the government to meet the standards of Trafficking Victim Act, though all the standards are not met. TIP report by National Human Rights Commission Nepal revealed that only 47% of 13,678 lost cases reported to police were found. Only 174 cases of human trafficking were filed in the year 2018. Porous border, changing trend. Example of China recent case, which states increased vulnerability due to pandemic suggested increasing vulnerability is more than 5%. Now we'll get to know who are the risk group, who are under the high risk of trafficking and sexual exploitation. There is a risk group, base population, and frequency. 41% of adolescent girls in rural areas between 13 to 19 years are the risk group. Among the 3 crore population, adolescent girls, 8% adolescent girls of 3 crore. and around 1,200,000, that is 12 lakh people are under the high risk of human trafficking and sexual exploitation. Labor in adult entertainment sector, 36%. Estimated labor is around 60,000 and 21,000 people are under risk. Aspirant migrant workers 30%, and 60,000 are the base population, and 180,000, that is 1,80,000 is the risk group. Child labor 18%, around 800,000, 8 lakh, and 100,000, 1 lakh are risk group. So therefore 1.5 billion are under the high risk of human trafficking and sexual exploitation. Here is a photo which states that the mask, if you see the mask, we know the human trafficking that took place during the COVID-19 pandemic. Trafficking of Nepali girls and women has increased in China. It is found that brokers bring them to China after marrying them and using various temptation false promises. Police source revealed that the brokers take up to rupees 1.5 million in cash for taking Nepali girls into China. Here is another case which was published in the newspaper. This case took place in June 2020 in New Delhi. There were 6 Nepali women. They were going to Kuwait. Their journey began from Nepalganj, but they were not able to reach. They were stopped in New Delhi for more than 3 months during pandemic. And one girl says that she asks them why they are not flying back. So the agent says that to go for household job, there is a ban on going abroad for the household job. That is the answer is given by the agent. And here is also another picture. After 9 months of languishing in Indian state of Manipur, the Nepal embassy in India rescued a group of 21 Nepali women who were en route to Persian Gulf countries on foreign employment. Now we'll get to more about the vulnerabilities which is worsened during COVID-19 pandemic. COVID-19 has worsened the vulnerabilities of children and youth at risk of trafficking and sexual exploitation. Workers in informal sector have lost their job without any access to pay, paid leave, social security, and healthcare insurance, which enforce them to involved in sexual activities. Despite a formal closure of business, adult entertainment sector workers and organization would say that there were commercial sexual exploitation happening inside the closure venue. Though there was lockdown, but people were not able to go to their house, but there was a lot of sexual exploitation took place in dance bar, cabin restaurants, and rooms. Those people, they have experienced a lot of mental psychological trauma they have went through, because they didn't have enough money to take care of their family, and then they were not able to go to their destined place where they have come from. And in this situation, there were so many girls, they were put out of the entertainment sector. For example, those who worked in the cabin restaurant, they did not give them shelter. They chased them out of the cabin restaurant. And this also led them to have unwanted pregnancy because there was lack of medical access during COVID-19 pandemic situation, and people, they got also pregnant, and they were also harassed, and some wanted to commit suicide attempts, were also increased suicidal attempts. The Anti-Human Trafficking Bureau of Nepal Police has rescued around a dozen trafficking victims, including 3 minors from Nepal and India during 3 months, April to June 2020 of strict lockdown. The Bureau also arrested 12 people near the Indo-Nepal border for their alleged involvement in human trafficking. The traffickers, like most cases, had victims by offering them false hope, paying better job of saying better job opportunities, which is stated in Kathmandu newspaper. In the last fiscal year 2019-20, there were cases like 510 children, among them 369 were girls, and boys 141 went missing. And these missing girls are also vulnerable to trafficking. There are many incidents of missing girls being rescued from sexual exploitation and exploitative labor condition, which was stated by Atwin in 2021. Now we have so far listened to the scenario of the girls being trafficked. As we all know, trafficking is an inhuman act, and it is a violation of human rights. And so it not only takes place in Nepal, but it is also in all parts of the world. Around the world it is taking place. As a result, now I would like to request each one of you to observe a 1 minute silence, praying for them, hearing their cries for healing, decent living, that we may send the vibration of peace and mercy, healing to those enslaved and trafficked. So thank you. Now we will move on to the next slide. So to address these issues, these are our intervention. These are the intervention logic, like strategy. We are also like prevention, protection, prosecution, and partnership and networking. So under these main 4 strategy, we do awareness program, capacity building activities, and PSG mobilization. And under protection, we do rescue operation, repatriation, rehabilitation, reintegration, and we do give them vocational training and business support those youth, and we do capacitate them with the skills. Under prosecution, we do lobbying and advocacy, youth consultation we have, and dialogue with the duty bearers and right holders. And in networking partnership, we do have marketing national and international day we celebrate, joint monitoring we have, and we do review and reflection of our activities. So mainly during COVID-19 pandemic, we have responded to the situation, like we have provided shelter service to those who were chased out from the cabin restaurants, from entertainment sectors, the rescue girls from India. They last year 83 people we have sheltered. Then we also have given medical support, like 75 people we have treated them, and we have also given like a psychosocial support. Because they were in traumatic situation, we have done online psychosocial counseling support we have provided. And even in government hospital, there were COVID-19 patients. For them also, from our organization, they have gone to give a psychosocial support. Then we have also given, we give them educational support, and we have done the rescue operation. This is mainly cross-border trafficking, which is we have in Bhairava. There we have rescued 26 girls last year. Then we give them, after that we do reintegrate them. There were 52 people, and we capacitate them with the vocational trainees. Like this is like a job oriented training we give, so that they will come up to make them economically independent. Then after that, what we have done, we do give livelihood support, so that once they get trained, and then after that training, we give them seed source money, and then materials, so that they come up in life and to sustain their economic independence. Then capacity building training is like leadership training and life skill training we give, so that to cope up in life. So these are the response we are doing. Now I will hand over to my co-presenter, Pradeep Tiwari.
Okay, namaste, and I would like thank you, Sister Antonia, and I would like to welcome you all in the second phase of the presentation. So before moving to the challenge, way forward, and lesson learned, I would like to share here the one video that is the voices of our stakeholders, key stakeholders, while we implementing the anti-human trafficking project in Nepal.
हामी चाहिँ मनोरञ्जन क्षेत्रमै कार्यरत श्रमिक महिलाहरू एकबद्ध भएर हामीले चाहिँ 2049 सालमा चाहिँ ट्रेड युनियन ऐन अनुसार अन्तर्गत चाहिँ अहिले तपाईँको 6 वर्ष रन हुँदैछ। 71 सालको फागुन महिनामा चाहिँ श्रम मन्त्रीद्वारा हामीले चाहिँ उद्घाटन गरेर चाहिँ विधिवत ढङ्गले चाहिँ हामीले चलाउँदै आएका हौँ। अहिले हामी चाहिँ विभिन्न जिल्ला गरेर देशभरमा हामीसँग 4200 सानसुन सदस्यहरू छौँ। यसमा आबद्ध छौँ हामी सदस्यहरू। र अघि हेमाजीले सोध्नुभयो त्यो मानव बेचबिखन कस्तो अवस्थामा छ। यहाँ पहिला चाहिँ हामीले थाहा पाउँथ्यौँ कि इन्डियामा मात्रै गएर चाहिँ ब्रोथलमा मात्रै दिदीबहिनीहरू चाहिँ बिक्री हुन्छन् भनेर। तर अहिले चाहिँ घन्टाको लागि 5 मिनटको 10 मिनटको लागि चाहिँ एउटै घरबाट चाहिँ एउटा रुमबाट अर्को रुममा बिक्री भइरहेको अवस्था छ। अर्थतन्त्र यस्तो छ, हाम्रो दिदीबहिनीहरूलाई समस्यामा भएर पनि अब गर्नु परेको छ भन्नुहुन्छ। बाध्यात्मक देह व्यापारको अन्त्य गरौँ भन्नेमा चाहिँ हाम्रो अभियान हो। र हाम्रो कुनै पनि महिला दिदीबहिनीहरूले भोलि गएर चाहिँ यस्तो चिज यो बाध्यात्मक देह व्यापारमा लाग्नु नपरोस्। र जुन ठाउँमा उहाँहरू मनोरञ्जन क्षेत्र महिलाको नाममा हुने धेरै हिंसाहरू छन्, विभिन्न पेसा व्यवसायको नामबाट महिलामाथि हुने हिंसाहरू छन्, यसको चाहिँ निर्मूल अन्त्य गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने हाम्रो उयो छ, जोरदार माग श्रमिक महिला रक्षा सङ्घको। त्यही भएर डिस्को डान्स दोहोरी क्याबिन मसाज पार्लरमा खाजा घरमा काम गर्ने दिदीबहिनीहरू हुनुहुन्छ, उहाँहरू नै हाम्रो सदस्य हो। उहाँहरू जुन ठाउँमा कार्यरत हुनुहुन्छ, उहाँहरू कार्यरत रहेको संस्थालाई नै सम्मानित र मर्यादित बनाउने, त्यो व्यवसाय हामी छोड भनेका छैनौँ। ती संस्थालाई नै सम्मानित र मर्यादित बनाउने र बाध्यात्मक देह व्यापारको अन्त्य गर्ने हाम्रो योजना रहेको छ।
Namaste, I am Benumaya Guru, Executive Director of Alliance Against Trafficking in Women and Children in Nepal. First of all, I would like to wish for the very success of our CSW65. And while I am working and engaged with the National Level Alliance Against Trafficking, some of the issues of the trafficking is at present is in we can say see this in four categories like prevention, protection, prosecution, and partnership. So if we see that in the present context, the trafficking, internal trafficking, and as well external trafficking is rampant in Nepal, and as well the issues of their protection, identification is a big issues. As well, the Nepal is entered in the federal system, so that's why there are so many policies need to be harmonized and amended according to our federal system. So while we are talking about while we are addressing this all kind of issues, and recently Nepal is also ratified the Palermo Protocol, which is we call TIP Protocol also. So so we have to amend the laws, and we have to harmonize our national policies as well according to the Palermo Protocol. So these are some of the issues we are addressing. As well, we are advocating for the to make the policies victim or survivor friendly, so they can have access to justice for the trafficking as well. Recently, we have done victim identification research, so which will be helpful for the government and CSOs to how they are, what is what practice is rampant for the victim identification. So these are some of the initiation. Due to the time, I have mentioned some limited initiation, as well how to empower the survivors and victims by making their national level networks, because recently our member organization Shakti Samu, they have formed a national level network, survivors network in Nepal, and the women working in entertainment sector, they are also formed a national network. So these are the two survivors and right holder networks nationwide, which the Atwin is supporting them, so they can empower and raise their voice and protect their rights. So these are some of the initiation. And when we talk about the COVID, after of course the COVID is the very complicated situation for all of us, but it more effect make the impact on the unsafe migration and life the person who are searching for the livelihood, and especially the women working in entertainment sector or informal sector, they are hit by this COVID very much seriously. So that's why the situation of the women who are working in informal sector, they have missed their livelihood, and they are preyed for the trafficking also, and they are more vulnerable for the trafficking also. So these are some of the issues we have to address. And at the same time, what we face, the funding opportunity or the for the organization who are raising the issues of women or lead by the women, for them also it is difficult to give the services to their beneficiaries or their communities in this situation, because of this crisis, fund crisis in all over the world. So this is at last what I want to say, that we should raise the issues of women's and girls trafficking in this time, and we to make all the stakeholders, government, CSO, or media, and even the individual responsible to and accountable to address this heinous crime from the world. And second, invest on these issues by survivors or by the NGOs or CSOs working on this. And of course, the most important thing, to make the effective laws, policies, and mechanism to reduce the to end the human trafficking from our country. And at last, what I want to say, that government should also bring the programs and budget to address these issues and collaborate with the civil society as well. Thank you very much.
Okay, Sister Antonia, can you please share the presentation? Okay, so we have the additional videos that we have captured the voices of the beneficiaries from Pokhara and Kathmandu. So I want to share here the voices of the beneficiaries.
नमस्ते मेरो नाम देवकी सिंह हो
नमस्ते मेरो नाम देवकी सिंह हो मेरो घर चाहिँ दैलेख हो म केही समय पहिला कान्तिपुर डोरी साथमा काम गरेको थिएँ र म यो उभियन संस्थामा आबद्ध भएको 1 वर्ष भयो र यो उभियन संस्थाबाट मानव बेचबिखन भनेको के हो त भन्ने बारे बुझेको छु। मानव बेचबिखन भनेको कुनै पनि व्यक्तिलाई ललाई फकाई वा डर धम्की देखाई पैसाको लेनदेनमा एक ठाउँबाट अर्को ठाउँ लिने किन्ने वा बेच्नेलाई मानव बेचबिखन भनिन्छ। र यो कोभिड-19 मा मलाई एकदमै गाह्रो भएको थियो र मैले यहाँबाट केही सहयोग पनि पाएको थिएँ र अहिले मैले यो बिहान संस्थाबाट बिजनेस सपोर्ट पाएको छु र म डोरी साथमा काम गर्नुभन्दा पहिले र म अहिले बिजनेसमा लागिरहँदा धेरै फरक भएको छ र अरूले हेर्ने दृश्य पनि धेरै राम्रो भएको छ अहिले मलाई। र यो मानव बेचबिखन भन्ने बारे मैले अरू साथीलाई पनि बुझाउन सक्नुभएको छु र म जस्तै दुःख परेको साथीलाई यहाँसम्म ल्याएर साथ दिने सपोर्ट गर्ने सोच राख्दै यो शुभ अवसर गराउन नेपाललाई धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु।
नमस्ते मेरो नाम निता श्रेष्ठ हो म यस संस्थामा आबद्ध भएको 1.5 वर्ष भयो। यस संस्थामा आबद्ध भएपछि मानव बेचबिखन भन्ने के हो र मेरो अधिकार के हुन् भन्ने बारेमा थाहा भयो। यस संस्थाबाट कोभिड-19 मा राहत र रेडिमेड कपडाको बिजनेस पाएँ जसको कारण मेरो आर्थिक अवस्थामा धेरै सुधार आएको छ जसले गर्दा मेरो मानसिक चिन्ता पनि कम भएको छ। म आफू जस्तै दिदीबहिनीहरूलाई लागि मानव बेचबिखन तथा महिला अधिकारको बारेमा बुझाउन चाहन्छु र अभियानलाई धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद भन्न चाहन्छु।
नमस्ते मेरो नाम कुमारी सुनार हो मेरो घर रामेछाप हो। म यस संस्थामा आबद्ध भएको 2 वर्ष भयो। म पहिला होटेल व्यवसायमा काम गर्दैछु र त्यस्तै यस संस्थाबाट चाहिँ मैले विभिन्न तालिम तथा सिपमूलक कार्यक्रमहरूमा सहभागी हुन पाउने अवसरहरू प्राप्त गरेँ जसमध्ये मलाई मानव बेचबिखन भनेको के भन्ने कुरामा मलाई स्पष्ट रूपमा थाहा भएर अरूलाई पनि यो सम्बन्धी जानकारी दिने प्रयास गरिरहेको छु। मलाई यस संस्थाले आर्थिक रूपमा सहयोग गर्नुभएको छ र मैले आफ्नै व्यवसायको स्थापना गरेको छु जसबाट चाहिँ मलाई आफ्नो दैनिक जीवनयापन गर्नको लागि धेरै सहयोग मिलेको छ र अनि जीवनमा आर्थिक अभाव भएको छैन। त्यसको लागि मैले यस अभियान संस्थालाई धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु।
नमस्ते मेरो नाम रिजा अधिकारी म अहिले सङ्घमुल बस्छु। म अभियानमा आबद्ध भएको पनि 2 वर्ष भयो र यो अवधिमा थुप्रै कार्यक्रम तथा तालिमहरूमा सहभागी हुने अवसर पाएको छु जसको कारण म आफ्नो हक अधिकार को लागि लड्ने प्लस बोल्न सक्ने क्षमता पनि भएको छ। मलाई अभियानबाट मैले लकडाउनको समयमा राहत पनि पाएको छु प्लस फलफुल व्यवसायको लागि सहयोग पनि पाएको थिएँ र अहिले म ब्युटी पार्लर सिकिरहेको छु। मैले यो तालिम सिकिसकेपछि स्वरोजगार भएर जस्तै अब म जस्तै अब दुःखमा परेका दिदीबहिनीहरूलाई सिप सिकाउने योजना पनि गरेको छु। यसको लागि धन्यवाद।
मेरो नाम साधु सुनार मेरो नाम साधु
मेरो नाम शान्ति सुनार, म अहिले भुर्जुङ खोलामा बसिरहेको छु। मलाई यसै संस्थाबाट नै सहयोग भएर मैले सानो पसल राखेको छु। मैले सिलाइ कटाइको एडभान्स कोर्स पनि सिकिरहेको छु। यस परियोजनामा आबद्ध भएको 1 वर्ष जति भएको छ। यस परियोजनामा आएपछि मैले धेरै विभिन्न जनचेतनामूलक कार्यक्रम, तालिमहरू पाइरहेको छु, साथै काउन्सेलिङ सेवा पनि लिइरहेको छु। परियोजनासँग आबद्ध भएको मानव बेचबिखन प्रतिको बुझाइमा नचिनेको व्यक्तिहरूको विश्वास नगर्ने, उनीहरूको ललाइ फकाइमा नफसिने, उनीहरूले जता जाउँ भने त्यतै नजाने, आफू सुरक्षित भएर आफू सक्षम भएर हिँड्ने।
मैले पछि गएर जिन्दगीमा चाहिँ मैले कसैलाई सहयोग गर्नु पर्यो भने मेरो साथीहरू म जस्तै अब दिदीबहिनीहरू अब लाइनमा छिरेर दुःख पाएको अब बाटो भौतारिएकोहरूलाई चाहिँ म चाहिँ अफिस शुभ अवसर ग्राम नेपाल संस्थासम्म चाहिँ पुर्याएर म सहयोग गर्न चाहन्छु। र के अरे मैले जति जानेको छु त्यो सिप पनि उनीहरूलाई म सिकाएर चाहिँ म सहयोग गर्न चाहन्छु।
नमस्ते, म अनिता परी। हाम्रो यो ओपिएनमा आएर मैले जुरापोते तालिमहरू पाएँ, राम्रो राम्रो कुराहरू सिक्ने अवसर पाएँ र मैले सहयोगमा यो आफ्नो स्टार्टिङ गरेँ।
Okay, Sister Antoinette, can you please show the slide? Okay, so now I am presenting the challenges and way forward that what we feel during the course of the project implementation in Pokhara, Kaski, Kathmandu, and cross-border project in the Rupandehi district. So the first challenge that we feel is the lack of standard operation procedure for the victim identification, referral mechanism, and the rehabilitation services. So this is the situation, and for the SFP to prepare the SOP, we are coordinating with the province government and local government, and we have also envision of the preparation of SOP in our upcoming project. That is our approach that we have been doing from our side. And the second one is lacking of rescue, reintegration and rehabilitation fund in the local government. Even in the province government, they don't have the this type of fund. If they need the to rescue the some survivors of the youth at the risk, at that time they have not adequate resources, and due to the lacking of resources, the rescue operation and repatriation that is not taking place. So we are collaborating with one of the working rural municipality to establish this fund in Rupandehi district. And another challenge is weak victim witness protection mechanism. In many cases, there are so many threatened that is from the perpetrator during the rescue process and the legal support, not only for the others, even if our staff engage in the rescue and rescue operation, and if they are involved in the legal process or justice process, they have to face the so many threatened from the perpetrator. This is our challenge that what we have failed. And another is when the Nepal government that have already went in the federal structure in a federal government. So before the federal government, there was district and local committee on combating human trafficking in each district and each VDC, Village Development Committee. But after the federal government, all this structure that have been dissolved, and in some of the district, in some of the organizations, they are taking initiatives to revitalize this structure. So in our case, we are also revitalizing the district and local committee in our working district, especially in the cross-border program implementing district in Rupandei. Besides this, we are not only revitalizing this structure, we are also focusing to establish the community-based like protection committee. That means the main role of that committee is to surveillance as a vigilance on the border communities where we are working. And they also refer to some cases, they also coordinate with the police and the project staff if they like found some susceptible cases, and they are also providing the information for those people who are crossing the borders, like how to save, how to make the safe their migrant, and how to like be keep protect from the like other chances of human trafficking and sexual exploitation. And the another challenge is like we have a lacking rules and regulation when we are working in the adult entertainment sector. So we have only the one guideline to prevent the sexual harassment of women working in the entertainment sector. Besides these guidelines, we have no like any rules and regulation to make this entertainment sector safe, well managed, decent, and dignified. And there is a no supervision and monitoring from the government side, even from the in the federal structure. The authority goes to the local government, that means the ward office, rural municipalities. Yes, so there is not any like a supervision and monitoring from the those government wings. Even the at the central level, they have formed a one monitoring committee, but due to the like lack of resources and a lack of trained human power, that is not functioning. And we are also coordinating with our respective rural municipalities, local governments to form a one monitoring supervision to supervise these sectors. And we have already monitored some of the adult entertainment sector businesses in the Kathmandu where we are implementing this project. And the another main challenge is we are working with the young women, girls. They are working in the from the adult entertainment sector. So the general people's preoccupied mindset towards towards the women and girls working in the entertainment sector is also like making a like being obstacles to like how to engage them to enhance their access on the service provided by the government and others duty bearers. And like even not only the limited access on the services, even if they need the like rent in the Kathmandu or in the Pokhara, as being a worker of entertainment sectors, they will not like chance to get the to have a like rent a room in rent very easily. So that is very difficult to change the people's preoccupied mindset towards the entertainment sector, towards the women and girls who are working in the entertainment sector. So the another challenge that is like we have like providing the various vocational training as per the demand of the youth or women and girls working in the entertainment sector. But once we provide them the training and even the business, but there is not a like a continuity because they have the like not stable on their decision. So once we provide the training, then they choose the another business what they have not a like skill and knowledge on that business. And even we provide the support, they are not continuing for the long term. So but we are approaching, we are like involving engaging them to select the like best business what that could be the feasible and that could be run in the long term. So that is the another challenge. So we have like some learnings and good practices. So collaborative efforts make advocacy stronger and effective. That we are also working with the national network, as you already like have seen the key stakeholder voices. We are working with the Women's Protection Union. We are working with the ATWIN or National Network against the human trafficking in women and children, and we are working directly with the police, community police, and like local government and other organization, like-minded organization, so that we can we can to make our advocacy more stronger and effective. And so, and another is like we are working with the PSG. So PSG is our working strategy to reach out the more women and girls who are working in the entertainment sector. PSG means the peer support group. That is our working approach or working strategy to reach out the more youth in the adult entertainment sector from the peer support. And we are also capacitating and mobilizing them. So activating the women's workers protection unions, as I already mentioned that uh, here is the one like women workers protection unions has been already formed, that is not functioning. So we are revitalizing, we are working, coordinating with the women's worker protection union, and also encouraging the individuals who are working in the adult entertainment sector to be affiliated with women workers protection union, so that they can lobby for the promotion and the protection of their rights. And we also learned that the referral mechanism is very it's must for the comprehensive support, because no one the organization can provide the full services for the survivors or at our youth at risk of human trafficking and sexual exploitation. And we are also developing as a model of establishing a saving and credit group of those women and girls who are working in the adult entertainment sectors, that supported them during the pandemic. It helped them. They also get their saving, and some of they took loan from the group that helped them during the pandemic to solve their hands to mouth problem to some extent, and it helped them to cope with the situation. And another is promoting business outlet by engaging survivors, youth at risk of human trafficking and sexual exploitation. So we are working towards to establish the business outlet where the survivors and youth at risk, they can work as a group, and they can involve in the business that can be the sustained rather than the starting from the individuals support. So these are the some learning and
Non vedo nessuno.
practice. Okay, thank you, Jassal. So if you have any question, so we are here to answer you, and if you have any queries, myself and Sister Antonia, we are here ready to answer you.
Thank you very much, Antonia and Pradeep, for showing us the realities of human trafficking in Nepal, the efforts taken by GSIF, and support given to the beneficiaries. So now we will spend some time for questions and answers. So I invite you to unmute yourself and ask questions, or you can put your questions in the chat box and in comment section in YouTube. Sorry, we have a comment from Rajai from Thailand. So in Thailand, some trafficked victims don't want to involved in the reintegration process, especially victims in sexual exploitation in entertainment sector, because they are ashamed, so don't want the community members know about their situation. Unappropriated reintegration process may re-victimize the girls. I would like to learn how the reintegration process in Nepal has been done, and are there any challenges?
In Nepal, as far as my experience in Nepal for 3 years, we have shelter home, and last year we had 14 girls were given shelter service. But here experience is quite different. We keep them 3 to 9 months. They will be in shelter home, so we give them constant counseling, and we also get in touch with their family. So far this kind of like not that kind of situation we have not faced, but they were happy, and we have reintegrated them with livelihood support also we have provided, and those families also accepted them.
Okay, I just want to add to the sister Antonia. So we are not forcing them to be reintegrated. We just warning them if they wish to to be settled and reintegrate in the community with the some business. If they wish to start some business and reintegrate in the community, then we can provide our comprehensive support. Otherwise, we never force them, and without their eagerness, without their interest, we do not reintegrate in the community and even with into the family.
Thank you, Pradeep. So you were saying that consent is taken from the girls before reintegrating them.
Yes.
Any other questions, comments?
Okay, so I want to add in the first question is because we are not getting the other question and queries. So in many cases, the young women and girls who are working in the entertainment sector, they never want to. They mostly not want to reintegrate in the same community. So they have the option. They can start their business in the other cities, in other district, and we are also providing them as a means of the reintegration process. We provide the some business, vocational training, and job placement to some extent. So this is not it need to be reintegrated in the same community where they are belonging and into the community, into their own family. So we have the option. They can choose the option. Thank you.
Thank you, Antonia. Thank you, Pradeep. I'm so sorry. Ciara, would you like to ask a question?
Yes, I have a question. Can you briefly talk about the involvement of the women's unions in the women in the adult entertainment industry? We're interested to know more about why the unions have to be involved.
Okay.
Pradeep sir.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So, Women's Workers Protection Union in Kathmandu, yes, one of the organization. They formed this union in engaging the girls, women working in the entertainment sector. So, the main role of the Workers Protection Union is to support the individual, support those young women and girls who are working in the entertainment sector. If they need some legal process, if they feel some need of medical support, if they feel some psychosocial counseling support. And in most of the cases, even with the they can negotiate with the alone with the business owners, with the owners. So if they affiliated with the union, then union can raise the price. So this is the importance of the women's be affiliating with the women's protection unions and is support to the individual and advocacy and to for their rights, to ensure their rights while working in the adult entertainment sector. And also it pressurized the government to develop the act, rules, regulations, and other strategy, and to monitor. In our cases, yes, we are and women's protection unions. We have already we have worked in many areas, for the dialogue, to organize the dialogue between the duty bearers and right holders. At that time, the women workers protection unions, they raise the voices on behalf of the individual women and girls, how to make the this adult entertainment sector safe, decent, and dignified. So these are the lobby, to initiate the lobby and advocacy and to amplify the voices of the individuals. Women's protection is working on this area.
Thank you very much.
Any other comments, questions? Okay, so let's move on. If you have questions, if you have comments, you can always put it in the chat box or YouTube comments. So now we are come to the final segment of today's forum. We are going back into the topic of OSEC now. So we'd like to hear from you. What does OSEC mean to you? What is the level of awareness in your country, and how do you think the community and policymakers can make an impact? So I will be sharing the link in the chat box. We will spend about 10 minutes for people to complete the survey. And after submitting the survey, please don't forget to click the view accuracy button that you will see after submitting to look at the feedbacks of your answers. Can everybody see the link? We got 6 responses so far. Thank you. Keep it coming. Three more minutes. Those who are watching us from YouTube, please see the link that we have posted on YouTube comment section for you to click on it and answer the survey questions. I give you 2 more minutes, then we will start the responses. Okay. So we hope you find the feedback for the mix useful. Let's look at some of the responses of the survey now. Okay, so we have 5 people above 80 years, 3 from 18 to 28 years old, 6 respondents from 29 to 39 years old, and 5 respondents from 40 to 50 years old. So we have 3 males and 17 females respondents, and countries we have Indonesia, Korea, Malaysia, Nepal, from Philippines, Sri Lanka. Okay. So for the first question, it is not abuse if a child performing a sexual act online is not physically touched. So everybody answered correctly. It is still abuse if a child is not touched, just like as mentioned by Ciara just now. Even if it is not touched, they're not touched, it is still abuse. And question number 2, it does not harm a child if she or he is only seen but not participating in an online sexual scene. So everybody answered correctly. The correct answer is disagree with the statement. So it does harm the child even if they are only watching it. Third one is OSEC only impacts the victim. So everybody answered correctly. OSEC impacts the victim and the whole system, the whole ecology. Number 4, OSEC is a private matter between the viewer and the child. So 3% answered wrongly here. So OSEC can never be a private matter. It's a public crisis. Fifth myth is OSEC only happens in my neighboring countries. It does not happen in my country. So everybody answered correctly. So as long as there's internet in your country and a child has access to the internet, then OSEC can happen. The children are vulnerable, right? Next, I'm going to read out some responses here. For the question, if you could make one change to prevent it, what would you do? So to know how to report, become more aware of OSEC, information sharing, especially to my close circles, awareness, educating citizens of receiving countries about the impact of OSEC and its victims, give awareness and empower families and children about online safety and self-protection, create awareness among everyone, empower children, their rights, education, advocacy, awareness, education, and networking. Awareness program, education, and it is to spread the story of OSEC, especially among young people, by raising awareness to avoid children being victims. more talents, interest, activity for the youth so that they don't involve in get involved or be vulnerable in OSAC, educate children, family, community on OSAC, psychoeducation in the community to educate children from a young age on sex and sexual abuse and what they can do, how to avoid it. Encourage teachers and parents to sex educate children without making it a taboo topic. Yes, become an advocate to your family, neighbors, and community, and hear the young looking for solutions. So a lot of awareness, having sex education in schools. Okay, next question is, in what way do you see your community taking a stand to prevent and respond to OSAC? Awareness, promote reporting, advocacy. Okay, some say that it's not prepared enough. Awareness about online safety, spreading awareness through social media, education, empowering, awareness, avoid more usage of media, providing mobile to children, online sexual exploitation of children, it's a crime, making informed decision. First, get the help of expertise to do a research on this topic, creating awareness, awareness in school, more activity offline. Community lack awareness on OSAC, psychoeducation in the community. Community has not really taken any steps to prevent OSAC because they are afraid to speak about it public or they turn a blind eye. And we have partnership with NGOs, awareness raising advocacy from schools. It's very important to talk and learn more deeply about things. And when we talk about school, it's all schools. It's not only Good Shepherd School, but in every, what can we do to, have this education in every school? Okay. Number 8, if you could change one policy in your country to protect children from OSAC, what would it be? Okay. So I would like to also highlight some responses from yesterday, which was when we talked about policy, they said, tightening was all about laws, tightening laws, having a OSAC specific law, stopping sexual websites, networking, the importance of networking with other organizations, and advocacy program, and child protection policy, and similar policies like child protection policies. So today we have improved policies and increased nationwide campaigns. We have OSAC law, child-friendly policy, OSAC-specific law, rights to education and protection for all children regardless of status and nationality, create safe environment for children, education, government support the NGOs which work for anti-human trafficking and make a strong law regarding OSAC, ban on TikTok, enforce in criminalizing online sexual exploitation, IT regulation to be enforcing stringent laws on abuse of OSAC, working with government agencies such as schools, community, and etc. I wonder whether we have policy in my country, need to influence to have policy to protect children, yes. Age filter for Internet Act, to apply the child safeguarding protection policy, violence against women and children policy, I suppose, to punish the abuses without any mercy, start to make an advocacy to barangay level, make mandated, regulated laws that will protect children, and that small unit like the barangay can be responsible to. Sex education more openly, how important education and relation and communication in your family. Thank you, everyone. So thank you for completing the survey. It will definitely help us to see the level of awareness on OSAC and recommendations on how the community and policymakers can make an impact. We are collecting all your responses yesterday and today. It will be used for our advocacy work, and we will be collating the report, and it will be sent out to those who have given us the email addresses. So I would like to also also share with you some information on reporting mechanism. So I'm going to share with you about some info on reporting mechanisms. Okay, so we have an organization called Internet Watch Foundation, and this is the website address. So it aims to remove child sexual abuse images, video. The website, you can write your report there, and they will work to take the videos or images, child sexual abuse videos, or images online. And their analysts are actively searching, like they'll be actively searching for any content of child sexual abuse images online, and they'll be taking it up. And you can also make anonymous reports there. And we also found that we have IWF, the Internet Watch Foundation for Malaysia, and I'm sure there are for other countries too. So the best part is that this Internet Watch Foundation for Malaysia, it is written in Malay, in our national language, so it'll be useful for people to make reports. So the next one is OUR, Operation Underground Railroad. It's a non-profit organization assists government in rescuing human trafficking and sex trafficking. Focuses on website that I've kept here, to learn more about the prevention efforts and all that. And for Malaysia, I'm sure they are for every country. So for Malaysia, if you would like to make any complaint regarding cybersecurity, or if you have complaints regarding child sexual abuse, online sexual abuse, you can go to this website. And also, to learn more about online sexual exploitation of children, please visit End Violence Against Children website that we have put here. And there are also new videos that they put, I think very recently, that they put these videos that is very useful for children to watch and learn about what's happening and how to protect themselves. Okay. So it's interesting that, from the responses that we received just now, many people have brought up about changing policy, changing law. So I would like to share with you about Bronfenbrenner's ecological theory here, to talk about it in Good Shepherd Asia Pacific. Okay, so from our presentation from Philippines and also Nepal, I could see that there was a lot of efforts done with the story taking, with all the case notes, all the efforts being done for the beneficiaries, for the victims. So it starts from you, whatever we are doing, and in the microsystem, community, family, and mesosystem. There's a lot to think about what can we do in exosystem and ecosystem. So moving on to a larger scale to make systemic changes, maybe in government level and country level. So to talk more about this, I would like to invite Vila to share.
Thank you, Kalai. Basically, what we want to say is, last year in 2020, we spent a lot of time learning about the position papers, the 6 position papers, and from Sister Winifred. And also we had Teresa Simmons doing the application of the position papers. So I think regionally we have basically learned a lot, and our knowledge has actually gone up, like in this really steep curve last year in 2020. We feel that perhaps in going forward, we would look at the skills that we need to form to look at how we can do advocacy at a even further into the meso system, into the macro system, the exo system. The thing is, for us, it's a new thing to do advocacy at the government level. Like we heard just now from Miss Benu from Nepal, she said something about harmonizing the laws. So do we know the laws well enough to even state that certain laws need to be harmonized? So we still need to learn, but the main question that we often ask ourselves here, even in Malaysia, is how much time and how much do we want to invest in the time and in the people to do this? For instance, when I see Sister Winifred and Sister Claire Nolan, I mean, it took them so many years to get to this point where they, well respected in the works that they do at the United Nations. Also, we see that when we have watched the NZAC presentation on 2 days ago, Miss Laura Vidal, she is the head of the policy department in Australia. So are we willing to invest that amount of time and money into formating people to do policy, to look at policy changes, to do advocacy work? It's a question that we ask ourselves. Like for instance, here in Malaysia, we have a person who sits at the trafficking desk. Her name is Karen Tai. And Karen Tai has done amazing work with the government, looking at how to make changes in policies, how to make changes within the SOPs of the government, and a lot of time have been spent since 2012 in Malaysia to make those systemic changes. For instance, in 2016, we had some small successes. We were asked to do a shelter for the government. Then in 2018, we were called to sit in the National Anti-Trafficking Council for Malaysia. We are one of 3 organizations that sit in this council. 2019 was quite significant. Karen came back to us and said that the government wanted us to help organize the National Conference on Anti-Trafficking in Malaysia. And this was the first national conference to be held in Malaysia. And we worked together with our network of like-minded NGOs together with the government. And it was, I would say it was a great success. We had more than 400 people who were attending the conference. And going forward from there, we were able to cull enough information and recommendations to make changes to, for instance, amendment to the Anti-Trafficking Act. How do we make it better? How do we make it more effective? And then in 2019 also, we were called in to do a session to lead the government and the NGOs to look at the national guidelines on human trafficking indicators. So that has since been launched, and the government and the enforcement agencies are using that document now to do victim identification, which we are also going to share with the other NGOs, and everyone would then be able to train their own people to look at trafficking indicators around them. As we can see, from 2012 to 2020, it's about 8 years, and in that 8 years, we had to constantly plug in go to the government, meet them. Was really tiring, but we had to invest that time to make the changes in that area. Now this year, significantly, Karen has also helped the government to draft together a few agencies, the National Action Plan on Trafficking. So whilst we have gone very far in doing our direct services, interventions, it's also important, as I hear from Nepal and I hear from the Philippines, that we do put in the effort and invest in the people to do advocacy at a higher level, so that the changes become more sustainable for all of us and for the children and the women that we serve in our own countries. So I would really like to ask that question. If Good Shepherd in the Asia Pacific and other people who like to work with us are willing to learn, how do we put in those skills, how do we put in that effort, perhaps it would be an opportunity for us to then network with each other and get some training done and capacitate each other on how to do this. Okay, Kalai, that's what I wanted to point it out, and it's been really interesting to know that there is a lot of efforts going on, and we have heard from Nepal, we've heard from the Philippines, and I'm sure there are other countries in Asia Pacific who are also perhaps taking the next steps in this area. Thank you.
Thank you, Urmila. Okay, so any questions you would like to ask to any of the presenters? Those in YouTube, you can put your questions in comment box.
I would like to ask something, if I can, and maybe ask Malaysia to expand a little bit. What has been your challenges working with the government? How did you last the distance? You know, because it's been some years since you've been working with the government.
It's been a long, long road, and it takes the government doesn't run as fast as we can as NGOs and as a faith-based organizations and congregations across Asia Pacific. I think it is at the end of the day, we do it not for ourselves, despite the challenges of having to meet the government's requests sometimes. And sometimes there are things that don't sit well with us, but we always ask ourselves, who are we working for? It's always about the women, it's always about the children, and that is what keeps us going. And we try to really, we have given, for instance, like in the case of Karen, it's 100% that she's doing trafficking. And the last 5 years, she's invested her time in looking at trafficking and building those relationships with the government. And they see the same face, you know, always it's the same 2-3 faces until that relationship becomes so tangible that, you know, they pick up the phone call and they're able to ask us to do things. And we also can Karen makes that phone call to the National Anti-Trafficking Council and ask sometimes for things, and it moves, you know. So it is basically an investment of time. It is an investment of the person in and the passion for the issues that we have, and always remembering about our direction statement that talks about that one person is of more value than the whole world, and that at the end of the day, it's the women and the children who are coming to our organization. I hope that answers your question, Teresa.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Any other comments, questions? Okay, Tiara. Tiara, you can.
Yes. Okay. I would just like to briefly pick up something that I saw at the form that you had the participants answer. It's very important. Someone mentioned about educating the receiving countries as well. So I would just like to pick that up and say that yes, us countries that are considered as sending countries, that means countries that are sending out the trafficked persons. So for us sending countries, we are trying our best to prevent these things from happening. But at the same time, our women and children are very vulnerable due to poverty, due to the hardships in life that they are experiencing, and the lack of education that they have. But we also have to collaborate with the countries that are receiving, that the demand for trafficking is very high. For example, there are countries that are really the number one consumers of online sexual exploitation materials. So we have to educate children and men and women there from their countries so that we can put a stop to it. It can only happen. Trafficking can only stop if we stop the demand. Because if there is no demand, there will be no supply. So that's just that's something that I want to pick up from the responses in the forum. That's all.
Yes, Sarah, you're absolutely right. It's about the demand, especially when it comes to how do we consume goods, especially because now as we look more and more, there's a lot of issues, not with just sex trafficking, but labor trafficking has escalated because people are vulnerable. They've lost their jobs. They become easier to exploit. Right now, the borders are closed, but when the borders are open, one can only imagine what could happen when people start moving and migrating, and are we ready to address the issues of people being exploited in that way? So we have to keep an eye open, and we have to keep an eye on the government, the enforcement agencies, and also the corporate sector, as well as ourselves. Are we consuming goods that are being made by people who are trafficked for labor? Are we conscious enough to check where is that brand coming from and who's contributing to that piece of material or cloth or shoe that you are wearing, or even the food that you're consuming? So that's a very good point, Sierra. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sierra and Villa. So there's no more questions coming in. So we have come to the end of session today. Thank you everyone for your participation, your ideas, your suggestions, and your comments. It was a great sharing session. We hope these sessions helps you in your work in anti-trafficking of human rescue and protection journey. So thank you everyone, and goodbye.